Hi and welcome back to India on 99.94, your home of Indian cricket content here. I'm Nikesh Shrugani, BBC and SEN cricket commentator, alongside my co-host Sarah Waris of Wisden. And Sarah, how's your heart rate? We're talking here after India have beaten Bangladesh. So they've got 3 victories now in the T20 World Cup, 6 points on the board, top of the group. All looks pretty simple, but it has been far from simple, hasn't it?
What a match it was. If not for the rain, I tweeted something saying that I love the rain now. I'm not going to complain even if it rains again, because the rain came down and it broke the momentum, and from there Bangladesh just collapsed. So it's still trying to recover from that. Match was a close match. Yeah.
Yeah, it was indeed. If you are, by the way, watching this on YouTube, or like Sarah, you've just taken a glimpse of my mug here. You probably noticed a little bit of a handlebar moustache developing here. I'm doing Movember, which, if you don't know, it's basically a charity for men's health, where you grow a moustache throughout the whole of November. So I've decided to go for the handlebar in tribute to Mitch Johnson, who's a teammate of ours here on 99.94. So hopefully I can do him some justice and raise lots of money for charity. If you would like to donate, just follow me on social media, and the links will be up there, and I'll be posting regular updates of how the moustache is coming along. It's the 2nd of November at the moment. Not bad, I'd say, for a couple of days of growth. But listen, it's going to turn very grey, Sarah, by the end of November if India keep doing this to us. So look, they won the toss, decided to have a bat first. Lost the toss, got put in. Sorry. I'm all over the place. You know what? My nerves are all over the place. This is what tight finishes do to you. So this time, India said they would have batted first. Rohit Sharma said he wanted to bat first anyway. Shakib didn't know what to do. He didn't know what a good score would be. He didn't know how to bat on that track. He was quite honest about that at the toss and said, because of all that, we'd just rather have the target in front of us, and we'll let India have a bat first. Those first couple of overs, though, Sarah, it was like a throwback to everything we know and hate about this Indian top order, isn't it?
Yeah, KL Rahul also, he faced the first over. We spoke about it last match. Not really, before the match wasn't really in the best mental state, you could say. So, why not have Rohit Sharma take strike first up? Anyway, he faced the first over, started off tentatively, won't deny that. Bangladesh got 3 slips in. But if they had just bowled a little, they kept it a little wide. If they had bowled to the body, then maybe it could have troubled KL Rahul even more. Rohit Sharma, yet another dismissal for him. It's now becoming a trend, and I know last episode we didn't really get into Rohit Sharma much, and because his spot is sealed. But do you think after he should retire from the format, at least after the T20 World Cup? He's just even in the IPL, he's just looked well below par for many years now. The last time he averaged over 30 and had a strike rate over 135 in an IPL season was back in 2015. This year, he's had a terrible IPL, and even in T20Is, he has an average of 24, strike rate 137. When he's the one, who has been talking about batting aggressively and taking on the aggressive approach, he has a strike rate of 137, which is not the best. And the main thing is, once he gets a big knock, he's not often seeing the innings through. He just has one not out this year. He has 350s, but just not seeing the game through. Even against Netherlands, I think he made the 50. The stage was set for him to at least bat till the end. But so do you think, especially now with Hardik Pandya also
I thought
coming
you were
up,
gonna,
yeah.
yeah. I thought you were gonna say, do you think you should just retire now? just pack it in,
Yeah,
go home, let someone else take over. KL Rahul, the
Yeah,
vice captain,
maybe.
by the way. No,
Yeah.
look, obviously, yeah. Look, he's not going to drop himself. The Dravid's not going to suggest that Rohit Sharma should step away from the side right now, midway through a tournament. But yeah, the stats are all there, aren't they? And he just doesn't look like the same Rohit Sharma in T20Is that we've seen over so many years, and seen that aggressive nature. That, I mean, look, he talks about intent and all that kind of stuff. He didn't have to talk the talk before. He just walked the walk, didn't he? Before, he back in the day, sort of, you're talking 2015 there, and sort of pre 2015, he just used to come in and do that anyway. He just had that attacking intent naturally. And now it seems a little bit forced, and a little bit tentative at certain points. I don't know how much of that is to do with the fact that he's batting with KL Rahul at the other end. And we'll come on to Rahul in a moment. Great innings in the end, but he was 2 from 9 balls at one stage. So when you've got somebody who's faced the majority of the deliveries up the other end, who's only got 2 from 9, you've only faced a couple of deliveries yourself. Then you're going to start forcing stuff and looking a bit ugly, and that's been what's been happening quite recently. Quite regularly, really. That Rohit seems to be having that added pressure on him because of who he's batting with and how he's batting at the other end in KL Rahul. Um, so that could have a factor. But yeah, look, he's 35. There's no reason for him really to carry on in T20Is post this World Cup. But I suppose we've just got to concentrate on the here and now. He's going to be there. And KL Rahul, his place was under scrutiny coming into this game from us, from everyone really. 3 low scores, looked almost shell shocked every time he went out there to the crease, and managed to turn it on, actually. There was some good bowling, we have to say, early on. I mean, Tuskin didn't take a wicket himself, but brilliant early spell from him, just unable to score any runs off him. 4 overs, none for 15 in the end. Just a brilliant, outstanding effort from Tuskin at the top there. But KL managed to get himself going, and I think it helped that he had Virat Kohli at the other end as well, because before this match, I think they'd faced about 3 or 4 balls together in partnerships in this entire World Cup. And when you are batting with somebody like Kohli, he's a legend of the game. But the way he's playing as well at the moment, the form of, not the form of his life, but the best form he's been in for quite a few years, then some of that's going to rub off on you the longer you're out there as well. And I think that's what happened. 50 from 32 in the end, strike rate of 156. That's exactly what we want from KL Rahul every time, isn't it? All right, he might not get 50 every time, but even if he gets 20 at that kind of strike rate, that's what we need from an opening batter, isn't it?
Yeah, and interesting that you spoke about him batting with Kohli. Yesterday, during the indoor nets, there were videos of how Kohli was had an extended conversation with KL Rahul, giving him tips. Obviously, he has been struggling in the recent past. So just to have that leadership uh, kind of a person at the other end helps, and especially someone who knows KL Rahul's game so well. Even recently, a few years ago, there had been this like incident where KL Rahul said he wasn't in the best mental space, and he didn't know who to turn to, and he went to Anushka Sharma and Virat Kohli. So so yeah, it would have helped him to have such a person who he has turned to before also. And especially today, there were sixes which even left Virat Kohli shocked. We've spoken so much about how Virat Kohli gets shocked at his own sixes. He has an even bigger celebration when the other person at the other end hits a huge six. So and with KL Rahul today, it was, his range was there to be seen. So there was this 1 6 over mid wicket, there was another over point, there was one over long on, and then there was a wide Yorker over point again. So his full range was to be seen, and yeah, KL Rahul can bat that way. So why doesn't he? Is it a extended mental issue, or I don't know what it is, but I just hope that having Paddy Upton around also is helping him. And also, we might say that, it was against a weak team that have, like, I have brought up stats against top six teams and the lower ranked teams. But the conditions were tough, and Tuscan Ahmed, you rightly said, was bowling brilliantly. So, we need to consider this also. And he just shifted gears beautifully after a few overs after Rohit Sharma got out. So, yeah, very good knock, and I just hope he can carry forward, because India will need uh, that going forward in hopefully the semis.
Yeah, hopefully the semis, not quite there yet. I mean, the rest of the batting was, you kind of expect Kohli now these days to just finish with a not out half century at a decent strike rate, 64 not out from 44, strike rate of 145. Suryakumar Yadav just doing sky things really, 30 from 16. Then there was a clump of
Became the number one
wickets.
batsman in the world today.
Yes, number one officially in the world.
Yeah.
It's kind of, in most people's eyes, been there for a good few months already. And then Ashwin, the finisher, as well. A nice 4 and a 6 to finish off. Where did that pull shot come from, as well, from Ashwin at the end? That was nice to see, wasn't it? Another disappointment though from Dinesh Karthik, and they finished on 184 for 6. Look, DK was run out. It was one of those 50-50s as well, actually. The ball maybe hit the stumps before. It didn't look as though the bails lit up, though, when the ball hit the stumps. It was when the fingers hit the stumps that then they lit up and the bails came off. So another one of those decisions. I was on a Twitter Spaces just now for 99.94, and somebody brought that up, and I think it was a good point that are they under some sort of time restriction, the third umpires? Because these decisions seem to be made very, very quickly. There was the catch, of course, from DK off Lytton Das, which was given not out. Looked to have bounced, yes, but did it bounce from his fingertip into his palm? I thought maybe it did, but just zoom in and have a look. Why are you not zooming into this? Are you under time pressure? Have you got a dinner reservation? I just don't understand some of these decisions that are made. So, look, another failure for DK. His spot is coming under the spotlight as well. And, we might well see Rishabh Pant coming in at some stage for him during this World Cup. Maybe not in the next game, but then do you need to do it in the next game? Because then if you get to the semi-finals and you change it and it doesn't work out, I don't know. It's a difficult one, but they'll probably stick with him the way they've been going. But 184 for 6, good score, right? I think most people were happy with that on that track, especially the way things started, and especially when you got one bowler like Daskin Ahmed bowling 4 overs, none for 15, and you're still able to get to 184 for 6. India must have been thinking, right, we're pretty much here now.
Yeah, but then the bowling just let them down, and if not for the rain, the result could well have been lot different. Like their bowling, the boundaries, there were longer boundaries down the wicket, but they just didn't pitch it up. They allowed Lytton Das to keep pulling. That was his most effective shot of the day, and they just didn't pitch it up. And another interesting thing is, the Indian team management, they keep talking about matchups, but Lytton Das, so I was just looking at some stats, and 5 times in his last 10 innings he's been dismissed to an off spinner, 11 times dismissed to an off spinner in 28 games. And yet, they didn't bowl Ashwin up front to him. The first over that Ashwin bowled was after the rain break, which was the 8th over. So by then, Lytton Das has obviously got his eye in. He was run out. After that, that's another story. But for a team who is so preoccupied with matchups, they don't play Akshar Patel, they play Deepak Huda, they say Ashwin against left-handers, etc., etc. To not, look at this matchup and keep bowling the pacer. At least one or two overs from Ashwin wouldn't have, done any damage. But they just kept going to their pacers without any, taking without any other experiments, which is bizarre for a team who is so preoccupied with all these matchups and everything.
Right, we'll talk more Lytton Das after this short break.
You're listening to Cricket's Conversation on 99.94. Whatever your team, we have the show for you on podcast, YouTube, or on the 99.94 app. We have India, England, South Africa, West Indies, and now Sri Lanka covered. If you want to find us, the best way is to follow us on social media at 9994DM by downloading the 9994 app or Google 99.94 on podcast. We speak cricket.
So yeah, despite the matchups and everything that you talk about, I mean, you can't take any credit away from Liton Das. The way he played, one of the most exciting innings we've seen in this T20 World Cup, and from a player that Bangladesh fans have been crying out for, this guy to be given a chance at the top of the order, opening the batting for an extended period of time. He should be their main man. And look, when you put faith in somebody like this who's got so much talent, this is what he does. And I've got a feeling that Bangladesh would have obviously looked at the weather forecast and seen that there was rain coming, and they knew this was very intelligent stuff. They knew that they had to get a move on in that power play, get those 5 overs out of the way with a really good score on the board at least, just to constitute the match once those 5 overs are bowled, get ahead of Duckworth-Lewis, and then who knows, you might not get back on and Bangladesh win the game. If they didn't get back on when it rained, they were 66 without loss in the 7th over and well ahead on Duckworth-Lewis. If they didn't get back out, then it's 2 points to Bangladesh, isn't it? And the fact they came out, look, this is another thing. The fact they came out when it was still quite slippery out there. We saw that in the South Africa-Zimbabwe game as well, where they just wanted to get that game done. They didn't want another washout. It ended up being washed out. Zimbabwe could have had a few serious injuries in the field there, and South Africa as well with the batters that were out there at the crease. Just unsafe conditions in that one. This one wasn't quite as bad because it wasn't actually raining when they went back out there and didn't start once more. But it just didn't quite look ready enough. I don't know what you make of that. Liton Das obviously slipped over a couple of times and, looked to have done himself a bit of an injury. And I know it's more difficult actually being the fielding side in these situations because you've got a wet ball. You can't grip the ball. You're running around in the field. You've got 9 people in the outfield who could all be at risk of serious injury. You've got the bowler who could be at risk of serious injury running in ball after ball. So in a way, it's more difficult for the fielding side as well. Are you surprised that they went back on so soon?
Yeah, I was actually, especially, I don't know if you saw during the mid-innings break. So not mid innings break, during the rain break, so Shaki was having a very animated chat with the umpires and Rohit Sharma was trying to calm him down. Possibly it could have been a discussion on why we going back there so soon or something. And Liton Das, just the first ball after the rain break, while trying to take a second run, he slipped, he got injured, he had to be attended by the physios. The second ball, while taking the the second again, he slipped and that led to his run out. And after that, that was the turning point of the match.
What a bit of fielding, by the way. Just before we move on, I mean, KL Rahul, brilliant direct
Never
hit.
seen him so animated. Just, that pump, like he was so pumped up and almost like a Kohli-esque reaction. So never seen him animated that way. And another thing is, like during the match, Harsha Bhogle also, told us that the outfield was very, very wet while the match was going on. And he said that a member of the support staff, the Indian support staff, was at the boundary rope with a brush. So, he could wipe off the mud from the players' shoes. It was that muddy and it was that wet. So he was like, they
that was
showed
Raghu,
him
wasn't it? Raghu, the throwdown specialist.
Yeah. So, just...
conditions weren't great.
Wet. Yeah,
and
conditions.
I mean, obviously, there's going to be conspiracy theories that if it's because it was India and they were losing,
BCCI is equal to ICC.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Which, look, I think part of it is just it's been quite embarrassing for Australia for the ICC and the way that this tournament has gone with matches being abandoned and the amount of rain that there has been. Because no one wants to see that, and people have been kicking off about the weather. I mean, there's nothing you can do about the weather. It doesn't usually rain this much at this time of year in Australia, but it has, right? It's, climate change and all that kind of stuff, but it's not the height of the summer either. So to hold it at this time of year and not maybe after Christmas or whatever, hasn't gone down too well. So they're under huge pressure just to get these matches played anyway. So I don't think it doesn't matter who it is really. They just want to get a result rather than a game abandoned or one side bats for 6 overs and then there's DLS, and they just want to get the thing completed in any way that they can. And they come out 151 needed off 16 overs. I thought it was slight advantage India with the revised target. Because what they do in these situations is if they were to go off and not play again after 6 point whatever overs it was, they consider what the batting side has done. They've got this many runs, that is ahead of what they should have been at this point in time based on losing no wickets. If they get back on, that 151 would have still been 151 if they were 8 down or they were 1 down or none down. That's just the target that is there. So in a way, actually, even though it seemed more difficult because, usually you tee off towards the end of a T20 innings. So there were 4 overs taken off. And in those extra 4 overs, there's the assumption that, if the match was to be played fully, they would have needed an extra, 34 runs. 34 in 4 overs with wickets in hand, you'd expect to be getting maybe 50. Or maybe more off your last. So the fact it wasn't reduced by that much, I thought helped India, because if you take 50 off that, then all of a sudden it's like, well, Bangladesh are right in this. They would have won the game. But the fact that Bangladesh were then 66 without loss was actually a slight advantage for them, that they'd actually got off to this good start. They weren't 5 down and still needing 151 off 16. They were none down. They had Liton Das out there playing really well. And India came back brilliantly, I thought. They bowled in decent areas. Nobody got completely smashed. Yeah, there were a couple of balls here and there, a couple of loose deliveries, and you expect that. But I thought Mohammad Shami in particular was just outstanding today. Picked up the wicket, of course. Brilliant catch by Surya Kumar Yadav in the deep. I just think he's been outstanding this whole World Cup. What do you think?
Yeah, just one more point on, the point you spoke about how India had the advantage. It also meant that India, they knew, okay, the targets and the overs are now reduced and they could bowl out their, front line pacer, so to say. So they just left 1 over for Akshar Patel and 2 overs for Ashwin, but they sent down 3 of Hardik Pandya, 3 of Shami, 4 of Arshdeep. Bhuvneshwar, I think, had bowled all his 3 overs before the rain break. So after the rain break, the situation was set up perfectly for India to, not use their weaker bowler, so to say, no disrespect to Akshar or Ashwin. But, they could just play around with Arshdeep, Shami and Hardik Pandya with the, spinners just chipping in with an over or 2. And what was... Getting back to your point on... Sorry, I just
Shami,
yeah. Shami. So getting back to Shami, he's been brilliant. And Bumrah, after Bumrah was out injured, we were all saying, Shami, is he the best? Is he not the best? But he's been brilliant, almost has an economy rate of 5. Before this match, he had an economy rate below 6. So, which is, just brilliant. And even Rohit Sharma said that we wanted someone who has been here, done that before. So, kudos to him. We've been, proven wrong. We all were like, why not Umran Malik and all? But experience is experience after all. So, yeah, well done to him.
Yeah, brilliant from Shami. And look, India closing out the game, but it got down to a situation where it was 31 needed off the last 2 overs, I mean, it was basically India versus Pakistan kind of equations, wasn't it? With they didn't have a Virat Kohli out there, though, as to be said, Bangladesh or anybody who was completely in at the time. So I suppose that was the difference. But the fact they took it to within 5 runs is kudos to them. I mean, it was 20 off the last over, so it was even more difficult at that stage. And then for India to see it out, Arshdeep to bowl that one length delivery, which he got smacked for a 6, but then to see it out with mostly Yorkers. I know one of them was squeezed away for a boundary as well, but just brilliant stuff from him once again as well at the death.
Yeah, Arshdeep is. I just tweeted. The literal translation of Arshdeep is a star in the sky. So, he's already, his name means star. He's a star for India, and wishful thinking. But I just, what if Bumrah was there to, just having Arshdeep and Bumrah bowl in the death would have been such a joy for Indian fans. Not to be, but at least, Arshdeep is there. We take that and we move forward. Hopefully, India reach the semi-finals. Just, it's easy for India. You just get a win and against Zimbabwe and they'll qualify. But who do you think they would prefer playing in the semi-finals? It'll boil down to New Zealand, England, Australia. Not who they should play, who they could play, but who do you think they would prefer playing?
I'm going to answer that in just a second after we take another short break.
If you love the language of cricket and want more, then head over to the 99.94 app and you can hear all of our podcasts and cricket commentary. We're adding new shows all the time and covering cricket series from all over the world. Be the first to hear all of our announcements by following us on social media at 9994DM. Welcome to Cricket's Conversation.
Right, so I've had a couple of moments just to think about who India would like to play. I mean, let's just take it back a little bit. I think the favourites for the tournament, the two strongest looking sides at the moment, are England, who probably would have beaten Ireland had that game been fully completed and it wasn't Duckworth-Lewis. So that's been their only one defeat. They had a washout against Australia as well. So not had the opportunity to see the full England, but the two victories they have had have been comprehensive. Beating New Zealand, of course, was fantastic in their last game. And South Africa have looked like the strongest side in India's group, the way they've played so far. They were quite unlucky with that rained-off match against Zimbabwe as well. So close to winning that one, but just not enough overs completed in the end. So they'd be the two strongest. If they can avoid each other in the semis, then I think they are the favourites to make it through to the final. But as we said, and as we've seen so many times over the years, and in this tournament, indeed, it's what happens on the day, and you could just have one or two good performances from any side, and they could get you over the line against whoever are the favourites on paper. So it's still all to play for. I mean, who do you want to play? I mean, it looks as though it's going to be New Zealand or England based on the net run rates, and Australia would do well to get past England. Do
But
you want
then
to play
New Zealand,
England?
they've
I don't.
always had the
Yeah, that's what I was
they've
going to
had
say.
the
You
upper
don't want
hand
to play England
against
because
India. Yeah.
you don't want to play England because they're probably the strongest side in that group. But then you don't want to play New Zealand because you just don't beat them in ICC events. So
The last time
yeah.
India defeated New Zealand was in an ICC event was in 2003, which was like I didn't even follow cricket back then. So
Well, India beat
yeah.
everyone apart from Australia in that one. So that is going back quite some time. So 19 years. Look, you just got to beat everyone. You got to beat the best sides to win a tournament, haven't you? So there's no use looking at it and saying we want to avoid this team or we want to avoid that team. You just take on everyone and you back yourself. You get to the semi-finals, you're going to be up against good sides, and as long as you do your things correctly on the day, then you got to back yourself to come out with a victory, and that's indeed what they'll be doing. First things first, though, got to get there, got to beat Zimbabwe. Can't do a Pakistan and lose to the Zimbabweans. What a game that was, by the way. is such fine margins. I mean, India could have been out of the tournament before today's match. It's so strange. Well, almost out. It's so strange, isn't it? Just that one Kohli innings kept them basically in the tournament up until this stage, and now they're sitting pretty, 6 points. Another tight victory. They've not looked convincing so far in this tournament. They'll have to do well to beat Zimbabwe. They can't just turn up and expect a victory. It's going to be a tough game. And the Zimbabweans will have their own threats, I'm sure, but they should get through that one. And then it's all to play for, I think. I think the way I see it, India and South Africa qualify. I think South Africa are going to lose to Pakistan, though.
Yeah.
I think Pakistan, it's typical Pakistan, isn't it? You just don't play well when you're meant to, and then you turn up and you beat the best side in the competition. They're capable of beating anyone on their day, and I've got a feeling that they're going to beat South Africa. So the way I'd see it, India might finish top, and South Africa second in the group based on that. And then on the other side, probably New Zealand finish top, England finish second, England versus India, and South Africa versus New Zealand in the semis. But we shall.
Do we prepare for another heartbreak in the semis?
Well, yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to. I mean, prepare anyway, and if it doesn't happen, it feels even sweeter, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to prepare for. You get to the semis, you prepare for heartbreak. You get to the final. Same again, right? India have been to finals before, Champions Trophy. I mean, it's only actually been. Have India ever got to? India have never got to World. Oh yeah, of course they have. 2014, right? Yeah, it's happened, right? 2014, heartbreak in the final.
You're forgetting.
But that's Champions Trophy. It's not a World Cup. So 2017, and there was 2000 against New Zealand in the final of the. It's called the ICC Knockout then, but it's basically the Champions Trophy. They obviously had the rained off one against Sri Lanka, which they started the game again on 2 days, and same thing happened, and they shared the trophy. So there has been heartbreak in finals before. There's been one in the 2014 finals. Even if they get to the final, you don't prepare yourself for anything other than, look, we could lose this one because it's just been what India have been doing.
KKR reached the finals last year miraculously. I don't know how they did, but was prepared because obviously it was against Chennai Dhoni's team, and that's what happened. So
that is what happens. Yeah, but there's only one team in. Is there? I think there's only one team in T20 history that's got sort of only played one season and won, 100% all the seasons they've played in and won the trophy. That's Gujarat Titans.
Yeah.
My boys. So there you go. But yeah, look, whatever happens, it's been a great T20 World Cup so far. Another close game. And we just hope India can get over the line against Zimbabwe. We'll obviously keep across that one. We'll do another podcast as soon as that one is over. And hopefully we'll be previewing the semi-finals of the T20 World Cup. So thanks very much for listening. Thanks for joining us once more. Remember, do rate and subscribe to us on your podcast feed. Join us on YouTube if you like. Leave some nice comments if you like. Give us a thumbs up. And download the 99.94 app. Keep across everything that we do on this network. And do join us again next time.